Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Diplomatic License right here, nowhere else but Citi TV. My name is Apioko, and today, last week, actually, I did tell you that I was going to be spending a second week, as I usually do with my guest, with Her Excellency Kati, Csaba, High Commissioner of Canada to Ghana. And so we're here once again at the Lisa Hotels at Northridge in Accra. Very gracious to host us for a second time running. And as you can see, there's some fabric here. We've got some jewelry, some beads. It's still Heritage Month again at Citi FM and Citi TV. Heritage Month for Ghana and Women's Month for the world. So I'll be speaking to Her Excellency, and we'll be talking about her, all things Canada, all things her, and of course, her experiences in Ghana. When we return, the conversation begins. My name is Apioko once again, and welcome to Diplomatic License on Citi TV. We're back. It's still Diplomatic License right here on Citi TV. My name is Apioko, and don't forget, we're also live on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182. And I did tell you that I have Her Excellency Kati Csaba, High Commissioner of Canada to Ghana, with me once again. Hello.
Hello. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. I love your batik.
Oh, thank you.
From the mask to the dress. Yeah, I can see you really do love fabric.
I really do love fabrics. Yes.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, and I'm excited for another day.
Hey. So, the last time we met, we did so many things. We met the girls that you're very interested in, of course, and for a great reason. We were at the PPAG in Accra. We spoke to some of those brilliant young ladies. We did some bead talk, yes. Priscilla of Kolukwa was with us. But there's still more to talk about with you.
Okay.
And I believe we left off the conversation the last time around the point of you're studying in the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then learning about your Hungarian roots.
Yes, that's right.
As well. So I just want us to revisit that. So as a young adult studying to become a diplomat, what were some of the things that were running through your mind, and what are some of the experiences that just made you know that this is what you wanted to do and you had made the right decision?
Oh, that's a good question. I have to think back quite a few years to remember what it was like. But I really enjoyed my studies, I have to say, and I really I liked the subject matter. I was really interested in that part of the world, and having spent two terms in the Soviet Union as a student, I thought, wow, this is such a fascinating area, and it really made me understand the history of that region so much better. And so I knew that I really wanted to work internationally. But of course, things evolve, right? And so as I was starting my master's degree was when the Berlin Wall came down, and things started to really change in that part of the world. And so for me, it was, we were all learning kind of day by day, and our professors threw out all the textbooks. We were just learning by what was on the news, because everything was so new and
sort
fresh.
of like what we're doing with COVID now.
That's right. That's right. So after that, I felt really lucky to be able to find a job coming straight out of my master's, where I joined our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I was working on programs related to Eastern Europe, and helping them to develop market economies and new democratic traditions.
Okay, so let's just backtrack a little bit. You were a student at a very difficult time in the world. Last week you mentioned the Cold War, and we also know a lot of the things that were going on in the Soviet Union at the time. You can talk about Stalin and Leninism and all the way down there, but it was a very difficult time in the world. And of course, post World War II, we have these two people these two nations that had emerged as superpowers battling for global dominance. What was it like being a student? Were you actually able to enjoy your time as a young adult in school?
Sure, because it was fascinating to learn about these things, right? And to understand that things that as a child maybe or as a young adult I was watching on TV and I didn't necessarily understand the significance of them, but then to be studying them and to understand what really happened or what an important socio-political event it was when X or Y happened. It was really meaningful for me, I must say. So I really enjoyed it.
Did you have a lot of friends? I mean, I'm curious to know what was college life like, university life. What was it like?
It was fun, I have to say. Like every student, probably the first year you think a little bit more about making friends and having fun than you do about studying. But as I went through my 4 years, I got more and more studious, and I realized that this was really an opportunity to take advantage of a great education and to learn as much as I could. So I was happy I did that, but it was also fun and made a lot of good friends and still in touch with of course with some of them too.
Okay. Now, Your Excellency, you're a family woman.
Yes.
You're married.
I am married.
You have kids, grown children.
That's right.
So I'm curious to know, did you meet your husband prior to getting into your diplomatic career, or you met him along the way? What were the timelines like?
Your second guess was the right one. I met him along the way. So I went on, once I was working in our ministry, I went on my first posting as a single woman, went on my second posting as a single woman, but didn't leave it as a single woman. So I was working in Bosnia and Herzegovina, another country in Eastern Europe, and living in Sarajevo. And I met my husband there, who is Bosnian, from Sarajevo, and we fell in love. And so I had to leave because it was the end of my posting and go back to Canada. And we decided that we would get married, and he would come with me.
Oh, wow!
Yes.
Sounds like an amazing gentleman.
Yes, absolutely.
Sounds like.
And he supported me all through my career. It's been wonderful.
And I mean, that's brilliant to know. What are some of the challenges you faced as a working wife, first of all, and then later on as a working mother, and particularly one that travels all over the world?
Well, we had a few challenges for sure, and partly it's just that, as any working mother knows, it's that challenge of balancing work and life and your life at home and taking care of young children. And I was very fortunate that we were able to find excellent childcare because my husband was working at the time, and he was an entrepreneur. He owned a restaurant in Ottawa, and so we were both busy people and trying to find that right balance so that we could see each other and our children would have time with their parents. But then after our children were a little bit older, we agreed that we would go out on posting again. And that was difficult, I have to say, because it meant that my husband sold his restaurant, his business, and he came with me. And I think for anybody to give up their job, what they love doing, to follow their spouse is a difficult thing. So I feel so grateful that he was willing and ready for us to take this next challenge. We enjoyed it very much as a family. We moved to Moscow, in fact, from after our children were born, and spent 4 years there. And it was a really special and happy time as a family. But it involved sacrifices, certainly on his part.
Definitely. So, I mean, if I understand what you're saying, there was a period when you weren't going on posting because you decided to focus on family.
Yes.
So during that time, what was happening? I imagine you're working with your Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
That's
perhaps.
right.
Okay.
Well, actually, to be clear, for a number of years, I worked for the Canadian International Development Agency, which at the time was a separate agency, and a few years ago was amalgamated into our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So it's now one big ministry. But at the time it was separate, and so I was working there on development programs in different countries.
And what were some of the highlights of those times for you, career-wise?
Oh, just having the opportunity to travel regularly and meet with all kinds of really high-level people who are doing important things for their country, and also just professionally to have the opportunity to grow with each assignment and to get to know my job better, my role, and to come away with a better understanding of the challenges that each country was facing. Sorry.
Did you miss being on posting during those years?
I did a bit, but at the same time, when our children were really young, it was great to be at home. I was close to my parents, and my mother, of course, would come help out, and we would have great family times together. So that was the good thing about being at home. But we did, at a certain point, decide, okay, we're ready to go out again.
Okay, so let's talk about your posting. So what was your very first post?
My very first posting was in Kiev, Ukraine. And from there, I moved to Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is where I met my husband. Then we moved back to Canada for a few years and spent some time there. And then from there, we moved to Moscow. Spent 4 years in Moscow. Then moved back to Ukraine but first time for the family, and had 3 years there. Then we moved back to Canada and spent 3 happy years in Canada. And the children, got to feel really like Canadians again, and went to Canadian school and all of that. And then from there, we left for Ethiopia in 2015. Spent 2 years there, and then we moved from Ethiopia to Serbia, where I served as the ambassador to Serbia, Montenegro, and North Macedonia.
Okay. So, let's talk about going to Moscow first. Was that your first time back in that region since you had been in school in the Soviet Union?
Actually, no, sorry. I had been back a couple of times for business travel, but it was the first time to live there.
And how did you feel? Was it like night and day?
It was. It was night and day, truly. And when I was studying at one point in the Soviet Union, it was a very difficult time. It was just at the end of Gorbachev's mandate. And there was a huge economic collapse, basically, to the point that people were being given ration tickets to be able to access certain food items and so on. And when I went back a few years later, Moscow was just this glittering, exotic, flourishing city, exactly, with all of these amazing stores, not just foreign stores, but Russian products and Russian designers and Russian jewelers, and it was just kind of this flourishing period for the Russian economy, and it made it a wonderful experience for us to be in Moscow.
Of course, the Russian history is very interesting because, at the point of entering World War I, the USSR, Russia, that region was considered to be one of the most backward regions in, what they considered backward at the time, in Europe. But then coming out of World War II, there's this superpower emerging, and now fast forward, this global superpower. How does it make you feel to have been connected to a region like that at different points in your life?
Well, it's just fascinating, and I feel like I've had the opportunity to be a very small part, but still a part of history in the making. And so I couldn't have asked for a better experience than to be a student there, and also to come back when the country was already in a new phase, and
then share that with your family.
And then share that with my family. Yes.
Right? Okay, so now let's talk about Ethiopia.
Okay.
Was this your first time on the African continent?
It was my first posting in Africa. I'd had the chance to visit a couple of places. I had been to Burkina Faso, and I'd actually visited Ethiopia before.
Okay, so our neighbors.
Yes, your neighbors. That's right.
And what was Ethiopia like? What was it like living there?
Oh, Ethiopia has so much history too, and it felt like a privilege for me because, as a Canadian, I probably, it's fair to say, I have a better knowledge of European history and North American history, and I did not know as much about African history. And to have this opportunity to learn about Ethiopia and see its very long, cultural traditions, and visit some of the amazing places like Lalibela with those amazing stone churches and so on. It gave me a whole new perspective on Africa, to be honest.
And how did the family find it?
They were, to be honest, they were a little bit, our children were reluctant. My husband was super enthusiastic. As soon as he found out, he threw himself into reading about Ethiopia to find out more.
He seems like an adventurous guy.
He is definitely an adventurous guy. But for our children, because they'd had 3 years back in Canada and they were feeling kind of more settled, they at first were thinking, not really sure that I want to move again. But once we got there and once they made new friends and, you know, got used to their new school, they really, really enjoyed it. And they also feel like it has been an amazing experience for them to have lived in a country like Ethiopia and learn about a culture about which otherwise they would have had really no knowledge.
Absolutely. So your children, how many do you have?
I have 2 children.
Okay.
We have 2 children. We have a son who is 20 and is in his second year of university, and a daughter who's 18.
They're grown children.
They're
not children.
They are. This is our first posting without our children now, and I must say we both are. My husband and I look at each other from time to time with tears in our eyes, thinking, we really miss our children.
How do you think they would have enjoyed Ghana?
I know they would have. It's, you know, it was time for them to move on into the next phase of their lives, but we are very much hoping that once the pandemic situation calms down, that they will come visit us.
Okay, so now let's talk about how you ended up in Ghana. You know, I mean, what did you choose Ghana? Was Ghana chosen for you? How did you feel when the posting came about?
So as part of our process, when we're coming to the end of an assignment, we see a list of what are all the positions that will be opening up. And so I had the possibility of putting in several choices, and it was a great honor when I got called by the person who was responsible for selecting the High Commissioner in Ghana to say, are you on board? We're interested in you. And of course I was very, very excited to be coming here. And so it's been, it's a cultural shift, right? To go from Ethiopia then back to Europe, and then from Europe back to Africa. It's been great. And actually, even though we're in a pandemic time when it's more difficult, but we've had a very soft landing and have I think quickly found our feet here and are feeling very comfortable.
Yes. Okay. So I know you came in. Was it in November or December? December. Okay. And of course, I mean, you I'm sure you haven't been able to travel around
Not
and
yet,
experience everything that Ghana has to offer. But at least the fabric and the jewelry,
yes.
the beads, things that you loved already.
Yes.
COVID hasn't taken those away from you. So at this point, I'm going to invite our friend Priscilla from Kolokol back, just because she also has a very deep knowledge about fabric as well. Priscilla,
wonderful.
Come. Hi. Again.
Hello, Priscilla.
Hi. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Yes. So viewers, for those of you who don't know Priscilla, she's I like to call her the everything can-do woman of Kolokol accessories. And these beads, including the beautiful earrings that I'm wearing, the bracelets, they're her work. And if you didn't see my first episode with Her Excellency, you can go on YouTube, CitiTube, and see what we spoke about. We don't have enough time to go into all of that. That's your fault for missing it. So just go and see what we spoke about. But I'm sure some of those things will come up again quite briefly. So Priscilla, yes, Her Excellency, she loves beads, but she also loves fabric. Yes, she was telling me off camera that she's bought so many that when she brings fabric, her husband says, "You want more fabric again? You haven't even finished using the ones."
That's what I think. You can never have too much fabric.
You never know.
But what's your fascination with the fabric?
Well, there's several aspects. First, I learned to sew when I was a teenager, and for a long time I sewed a lot of my own clothes. I don't have time anymore, unfortunately. But so then finding fabrics that I thought would be interesting or that showed an unusual pattern or whatever, that I made me love it even more. And then there's just something about the colors and the textures and the patterns that just appeals to me. And I love to just look at fabrics and to, for me to stand in a fabric store and see all of those different fabrics is just heaven.
The colors are always beautiful, and because with African culture, the colors are always bright and vibrant because every color means something. the red is for very, passionate seasons, and then black is for funeral, and then white is strictly for engagements and weddings and
outdooring. Yes, even though outdooring is not a word in English though.
Okay.
Yes, it's an appropriated word.
It's a naming ceremony for a baby.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. I
Yes.
didn't know that yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Ghana, we would call it Pojimo. It literally means it's an outdooring.
I see.
And I think most people call it Christine.
Christmas,
Okay.
yes, that
Yes.
would also, yes.
So that's how come we love the Fabric Salon, because every stage of our lives has a specific fabric that tells a story on its own. I remember when we were kids, as a baby, you always have this old cloth that they carry in. It's normally your grandmother's cloth, and it's normally those light blue GTP
or black and
blue
white
fabric. So these things always goes back into your family and tradition.
Yes.
Even for me, my mom on both occasions, both my children's births, she gave me cloth, and then my grand aunt did as well. Unfortunately, none of my grandmothers lived to see my children, but my grand aunt, she would send cloth down, carry the baby with us.
Well, I have to say, it's not GTP fabric, but I also still have a piece of fabric from when I was a baby. And my mother sewed me a blanket to lie on the floor, and I still have that fabric.
You see, so you always have that connection and bond around you when you have it. So that's one thing. That's one thing we love about our fabric. They always connect you to your maternal side, and sometimes your paternal side as well.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the ones behind us and here as well. How do you pair the fabrics with some of the accessories, for example?
For me, fashion has to always be subtle. So I love to go with less is more. So if I had to pick this GTP fabric, although it has a bright orange, a dark brown, and this mustard color, I'll just pick one scheme. And I think this one, the mildest color would be the dark brown. So I prefer something which is calm and will still complement the fabric. If I pick an orange, it will shout too much. It will be too much. It will be too busy. So I like to pick the dark ones, so it just complements it nicely.
That's interesting, because I think a lot of people would have chosen the orange because that jumps out at you.
Then it has the whole outlook of jumpy. It's shouting. The whole outlook is
shouting.
So you would wear brown shoes with that too, for example, or
something to just tone the orange and the mustard down. So you look, you harmonize. You don't contrast too much. And also with something like this, this Blisco, one of the favorite fabrics for our moms. I think our moms like the Blisco more. Exactly. With something like this, the turquoise is in, so I'll probably pick the orange.
Okay.
So it's just a little, it's not too bright, it's not too shout, it doesn't shout too much, it's just calm and toned.
Okay.
This also Blisco. This is a very lovely pattern. I'll be really tempted to go for the pink. But I think I'd rather go for the navy blue.
For the navy blue, okay.
So for me, when you're always styling your fabric, always go for the one color that is not too dominant in the fabric.
Okay.
So that way you don't, like I said, you don't jump. But honestly, it's nicer when your outlook is more harmonized than contrasting. You can contrast sometimes, but you should look out for the hues. So if you probably want to do a pink hue, you probably look for something a baby pink.
Okay.
So it will still look pretty, still pink, but then it's subtle.
Okay.
But then if you have this fuchsia pink, it's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. Unless you're going for a fashion show, which sometimes you are required.
You must make a statement from head to toe.
You want to be over the top. Yes.
From head to toe.
If it's going to be a regular day dress or a regular event, it's always great to pick subtle colors which complement each other, and if you are going to have them contrasting too, it shouldn't be too far off. It should be very subtle. It should be very toned down. So, you know, you step into the space looking very graceful. So that's how I like to go about my colors. And with all these fabrics, this is GTP. And this is Blisco. And they all have names. Yeah. So something like this is called Atituiechi. It translates as the back of a tortoise. So it was coined from an ancient Akan proverb. And this one is Amasewa. She's it was named after a queen in the 18th century. In the 1800s.
Okay.
So all these fabrics have names and they have meanings. If we had time, we could go through all of them. But this is just an example of some of the fabrics we have in Ghana. And in Ghana, if in my house, for instance, if you are going to church and you are not wearing your fabric, my dad will ask you, why? Don't you have anything to wear?
Okay.
Where are you going?
It has to be fabric. It has to be
fabric. It has to be fabric. Back in, I think 10 years ago, it was fashionable to have, you know, foreign-owned clothes or foreign designer brands. But now in Ghana, every person you see, either on a red carpet or church or regular person on the street, is wearing a Ghanaian brand or an African fashion design brand. And it's always one of these.
Yes, and the Ghanaian designers, African designers, they're all jumping on that phenomenon. So I mean, when the celebrities or the personalities in society step out onto a red carpet or go to a high-profile event, everybody wants to know which Ghanaian designer, which African designer, you know, made the gown or the shirt or the, you know, the whatever it has been put together. It's a beautiful thing. But you're right. I mean, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was all about who's wearing the Italian brands and it's, you know, it's changed a lot.
It's all the local brands, like our second lady, Sonia.
Yes, yeah.
Whenever she steps on any public event, first question is, who designed this?
Yes, and of course she's a Muslim woman.
Yes.
And so even that fashion and how it's beautiful.
I've noticed a couple of things that really interested me about fabrics and what people wear here. And that is often I will see women wearing dresses that are made out of two contrasting but very similar fabrics. So the same colors, but slightly different designs, and I think that is such a beautiful way to wear design. I mean, wear patterns like that.
Definitely, that happens a lot. And then you also have the other side of it, where you'd have two prints, so same prints but different colors. Yeah, so maybe this one, for example, maybe you'd have a blue and yellow, for example, and then they combine those two. You know, sort of use it to color block.
Yes,
it's an interesting.
In a way, it came from a space where how can I differentiate my dress from yours? I have to add a twist to it. Well, you can all be wearing the same fabric, but then depending on how you mix and match with other pieces of fabric, it totally changes the outlook of the dress.
Yes.
So also that's one way to also, you know, make your dress stand out with the African fabric.
And that's the other thing I've noticed too, is that at special events, I understand that people will often have dresses made from the same fabric, so that you'll have multiple people wearing it, each with their own style, of course. But this is also a really interesting thing for me,
especially for funerals. So the family would procure a particular fabric, and often what happens is, well, now COVID has kind of changed that, but you still see it in pockets. So the immediate family. And that, by immediate family, it's not just a nuclear family. That means the cousins and you know,
aunts and uncles.
Yes, you know, the immediate lineage. Let me put it that way. Will all wear the same thing. Maybe the children of the deceased or the parents of, depending on who has passed away, would all have the same fabric. And then everybody else in the public is welcome to buy particular fabric. Yes, and show up in it on the day.
It's really impressive to see that.
It's beautiful. And even with the traditional marriages, you'll see, so color schemes are huge in our weddings. I mean, weddings everywhere, but here, massive.
Yes.
And you'd have 15, 20 girls Yes.
So,
Yeah.
So if it was her wedding and she was wearing this,
Yes.
all the bridesmaids will probably pick one fabric.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll
different styles.
Okay.
And
Okay.
all 15 of us have to
And dance in, same with the guys. The guys are doing it now too. So maybe the groom would have maybe the let me use this again, the orange, and then all his groomsmen are doing maybe a purple, a light purple.
Okay, I
to
see.
complement it, yes, and they'll all show up, with hats and shades.
Yes.
It's
So
actually
nice.
a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, it's actually a beautiful thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
But Priscilla, so I'm also curious. So we've spoken about lots of different social events. Of course, we know black is typically for funerals. Black and white, usually for somebody who's passed away above 70.
Yes. Black,
yes.
Okay.
And then black below, yes. Stating that maybe you hadn't reached your time. Your
I
time.
see.
Yes.
Okay.
But some ethnic groups will do red. The royals especially. Yes. And they have the red scarves.
I think that one. If you are in the nuclear, like you said, the main lineage of the person, you would probably have that red. I don't know what the name is. It's like shada or something. They tie it on your head too, or you on your wrist to indicate that you are mourning throughout the day.
I see. I see.
So it's like the plain fabric, like the one you find at a Udine, for example, the plain ones. And
Okay.
tie it around.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so what about some of the other colors? If you're going out to work now, we're encouraging people to incorporate our local fabrics, traditional fabrics and prints more into their work attire, for example. But a lot of people feel that the colors are too loud. How do you get away with that?
So like I was saying, you always have to look for a toned down fabric. And I think with certain organizations, so you have to fall within the color scheme of the company. So probably if you're a bank and your main color, your dominant color is red, you have to find fabrics that are red. So this has red in it. So you could pull this off for that. If you're a bank and your main color was blue, you could also pull it off with this, and it's not too bright for the corporate environment, because sometimes when you're meeting, especially when you have to meet clients, you can't appear to look in a party mood.
Yes, I understand.
So also the style in which you have to sew the fabric counts, the type of fabric to pick also counts. So something like this would work. These Bliscos are very mild in color tone.
Okay.
Our mothers love the Bliscos more. So if you probably don't want,
but they're a little more conservative.
Okay, I see.
Very conservative. So something like this orange GTP is also very mild and easy on the eye in a corporate space. So technically, you could almost pull off any color, but just that it should complement your environment.
Okay.
And also it should be a toned down version of whatever the dominant color is. So if it's going to be red, it shouldn't be all screaming red. It should be pockets of red here and there, like this fabric. And if it's going to be pink, this is a very nice soft pink you can pull off in a corporate.
Sure.
Okay. Alrighty. I think we've had a great lesson. Once again, Priscilla, thank you so much. Your Excellency, I think you and I have some food business to do.
That's right. We're going to try some Ghanaian and Canadian food.
Some Ghanaian and Canadian food and compare our notes, and then talk some more about you and your work and what we hope to expect from you, and of course the High Commission of Canada in Ghana. Yes. So we will be right back, and when we come back, yes, it's a food conversation. Welcome back, and you're still watching Diplomatic License on Citi TV. I've had a very eventful day. My second week out of 2 weeks that I've spent with Her Excellency, the High Commissioner of Canada to Ghana. And look, we've had a wonderful time. We've looked at fabric, we've looked at beads again, how to match everything. We've heard about some of the history behind some of the colorful fabrics that we wear as well. And don't forget, it's still Heritage Month, and it's been a very insightful conversation to have during this time. But now, Her Excellency has brought me back to her home. And we've been doing lots of interesting things. I've met her amazing husband. We played the piano, Yeah, I played the piano. Maybe I'll show you some of those pictures. You can see them. But now it's time to eat. Food is always a great kind. Ghanaians, we like food. Yeah, that's fine. We like food. And Your Excellency, thank you so much for inviting me here, the crew as well, and for having your wonderful chef, prepare all these interesting things. I can see jollof. Yes. I can see some bean stew. Yes, red. Yes. Some grilled chicken. Oh, well, I'm sure Chef will come and tell us what it's all about, what has gone into it. So, can we invite her?
Yes, please. Let's invite Agnes to come join us.
Hi.
So, welcome to the Canadian residence, and I'm very happy to introduce our chef of 16 years now at the residence, Agnes Klug, who does a wonderful job. Yes. She's a great chef. We've been so lucky ever since the first day we got here, and the fridge was full of delicious food, and we're probably going to end up gaining a lot of weight on this posting because of Agnes. But Agnes, why don't you tell us what all the things that you prepared today?
It's a combination of Ghana and Canada. It's Ghana. We have our famous jollof dish, and then it goes with the grilled chicken. Okay. And we have a hot chili sauce, which I call it Zanzi.
Zanzi?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you call it that?
Yeah, I have Zanzi and Madagascar.
Interesting.
So this is Zanzi, yes, and with our shredded cabbage and carrot.
Okay.
And this with the jollof. And with Canada, we have paprika, grilled fish.
Okay.
Yeah, that goes with sauteed potatoes, and we have corn salsa.
Oh.
Yeah. And then we have piluli and red bread.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's also Ghana.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have combination of Canada, Ghana. Yes, because lettuce and
Tomato
avocado
and
is both countries. Okay. We use them often.
Oh, so Canada does a lot of avocado?
Oh yes, we love avocado. It's imported, but we really enjoy eating it.
That's very interesting to know.
And then the secret behind the vinaigrette goes with the Ghanaian salad. It's maple syrup vinaigrette.
Lovely.
Oh, so of course maple syrup from Canada. Yes.
And what are we drinking also? We have
we have Sobolo. Yeah, and then that's Ghanaian. We have orange and pineapple.
Oh,
this is
Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it looks beautiful. Thank you for making us such a nice meal.
Thank you very much, Agnes, and thank you for putting so much thought into it, bringing Ghana and Canada together. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Your Excellency.
So, I think you should feel free to just help yourself to whatever you would like to taste.
Okay. Maybe I'll start with Canada.
Okay.
So let me do the fish. And let me just say that, so this looks like grouper.
Yes, it looks like grouper, yes.
Okay. I'm excited because we eat a lot of fish in Ghana, especially those of us from the coast. And I did mention that I'm Ghana. So my dad, for example, for most of his meals, fresh fish.
Yes.
Smoked, yes, but fresh fish.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about the fish element.
You're starting with Canadian, I will start with Ghanaian.
Okay.
I think that makes sense,
Okay, so that means I need some potatoes as well.
Please.
So potatoes are also a big thing in Canada?
Yes, lots of potatoes. And in some of our provinces, actually, we grow very, very good potatoes. And the smallest province, Prince Edward Island, which is on the east coast of Canada, which is where where Anne of Green Gables is from.
Anne of Green Gables.
So they are famous for their potatoes, which grow in this very red earth on Prince Edward Island. So
that sounds brilliant.
So and I will take some jollof also. So excuse me for reaching in front of you.
I think I'll do some jollof as well.
Okay. And are you a fan of spicy sauce?
I do in moderation.
Yes.
You know, when we were growing up at home, there are 3 girls in my family. I'm the middle child.
You're the middle child, okay.
Yes. And whenever I cook, I have to make a conscious effort to add enough pepper that everybody else will be satisfied, but I don't keep myself out of the meal.
Okay.
Yes.
I see.
And it was never enough
Never
for everyone
enough.
else, but we found a balance.
So I'm going to ask you to pass me the hot sauce if you don't mind. Because,
also, you're a spicy lady.
I am a spicy. I like spice. And growing up in my family, Hungarians like spicy foods. So I always enjoyed having it.
Sense.
My mother is not a big fan. So it was kind of the same. We would have a mixture of spicy and not so spicy.
That's interesting. Okay.
Okay, so bon
So,
appetit.
bon
Welcome.
appetit. Thank you. This looks really good. Okay. So, Agnes, moment of truth.
Yes. The red is good.
The fish,
Yes.
it just melts in your mouth. This is really good.
And what
Some
would you like to
jollof.
drink?
Maybe I'll start with Canada.
With Canada. Okay.
But ironically, it's also a very popular combination in Ghana.
Yes.
Yes, a pineapple and orange mixture.
Uh-huh.
It's my favorite fruit juice, actually, the combination.
Okay. Well, we have, again, tropical fruits don't grow in Canada, but that doesn't mean that people don't enjoy drinking and eating tropical fruits. So we bring in a lot of things from the U.S. and from, there's the salsa for the fish.
So that's the corn salsa. Interesting. Okay, I see you've taken a liking to Sobolo.
Yes, yes, I think it's a delicious drink. Actually, when I was working in Ethiopia, one of my colleagues was from Senegal originally, and she introduced me to this because I gather it's a very popular drink in many parts of Bissap. That's right. That's how I learned it was Bissap.
And I would like to pick your mind on that. What would you say to people around the world, about the times that we're in and how people are becoming more conscious of things like systemic racism and how important it is for us to be mindful of those things, even those of us who are people of color living in a country where you probably don't even know what racism feels like?
Well, it's I think this past year has really brought this issue into such strong focus, and I'm glad because it means we cannot ignore this anymore and ever again. And the various incidents that have happened, including the death of George Floyd and others, they at first they started local reactions where they happened. But this spread around the world, and in Canada we had multiple demonstrations and in various cities people protesting and saying, of course that Black Lives Matter and that we need to fight this systemic racism. And we've done a fair bit of soul searching within our own ministry. I think we had been complacent that for people of color working in our ministry that life was easy, and that they didn't really face any particular barriers. And now that people are opening up more about what's happened, we are hearing more and more stories, and it's actually quite shocking and very sad to hear that, unfortunately, even in a country that is as diverse, as tolerant, as multicultural as Canada, that many people of color have faced great difficulties throughout their lives, including at work. And so we are now, as a ministry, we're working very hard to work against this. Every embassy around the world, for example, is setting up a diversity and inclusion committee. We are trying to think through what are the ways that systemic racism exists and what can we do concretely to fight it. So we are setting up our own committee here. It's something that we are thinking about a lot. But I think really the most important message is that we just can't continue like this. It is so unfair, and we're all losing because of it too. That's the thing that strikes me. That it's just like, when you think about women's role in the economy, for example, countries do better economically when women are involved in the workplace. And in the same way, when every workplace is a workplace that demonstrates diversity, you see better results. People are happier. You reach your objectives. It is just, there's so many reasons why it's important to keep working on this.
Definitely, and we couldn't have said it better. And congratulations to you, to the High Commission Canada here in Ghana, and to the ministry, in Canada, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for the work that you're doing, the steps you're taking, leading the way in addressing some of these issues. And we're going to wrap this conversation up very shortly, Your Excellency, but I just want to find out from you, what are some of your hopes for being in Ghana? Beyond COVID.
Okay.
What are some of your hopes and your dreams and the things that you hope to achieve, experience? And it could be the big things, but it could also be the little things.
Well, I would say I have a few. There's some on the professional side and some on the personal side. So, on the professional side, of course, I hope to be a good leader of our High Commission. That we will be able to make progress on various issues, including around diversity and inclusion, but also on many other things. I look forward to having fruitful, productive relations with the government of Ghana. We're looking forward to to continuing to work towards our goals, to build our trade and investment relationships, to continue working together as partners in the world on issues where we are like-minded countries, including things around human rights and democratic values. So and supporting Ghana as it strives to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So those are all really important, and I hope that I'll be able to play my part in moving us forward in reaching those. But on the personal side, I also I really hope that once the COVID situation gets a little bit better, that we'll be able to travel, that I'll be able to learn more about this beautiful country, that I'll be able to meet people across the country and not just here in Accra. And I also hope to make friends in the Ghanaian community, because I don't want to be that diplomat who lives in the little bubble of only associating with or having friendships within the international community. I would like to also, of course, have friendships and get to know how Ghanaians live, and visit people in their homes and see how their children grow up and all of those things.
And I'm very happy to hear that, because one of the reasons for doing Diplomatic License as a show is that a lot of Ghanaians felt so disconnected from the diplomatic community and the expat community by extension. And really, it's no one's fault, because as you're here, you're representing the head of your country, and that's a big post. There must be some protection, there must be some show. But at the same time, diplomats, and I've discovered, not through just the show, but just interacting with the community, you're all very down to earth, and you love culture, the simple things in life, just like the next person. Today, you mentioned that we should call you Kati, and we shouldn't. I've had so many of the high commissioners and ambassadors say, "Don't call me." And I say, "Yeah, but I can't call you by your first name, just like on camera, right?"
Please do.
But Your Excellency, thank you so much. We're going to take a break, and I know Alberta has some dessert for us.
Yes.
So we'll do that, and then we'll do our final words and say bye,
super.
And eat everything here.
Yes, so there's still lots of food left.
And stop taking all the daggers from the eyes of the people behind the cameras and the lights and everything. This is Diplomatic License. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're just wrapping up our conversation with Her Excellency Kati Csaba. She is the High Commissioner of Canada to Ghana. I've spent an amazing 2 weeks with her, and we're wrapping it up in the best way possible with food. Who doesn't like food? And now it's time for dessert. Your Excellency, we did a nice, Agnes, she was so graceful and thoughtful, and she gave us a mix of Ghana and Canada. Agnes, where are you? Come, please. Let's imagine we can't see the Canadian flags. Yes. Where is, what's going on? Tell us.
Yes. This is tropical.
Okay.
That's basically all grown Ghanaian
Okay.
fruits. Yes, from our families.
Okay.
And we have the Ghana colors. Have
Yay.
the red, the green, and then the yellow.
Love
Beautiful.
it. It is.
And then maple syrup creme brulee.
Okay.
Yes, and it's maple syrup instead of sugar
Okay.
in the custard.
Oh.
And,
Oh, that's good. I haven't had a maple syrup creme brulee before.
you
I'm,
go,
I'm
something
actually very
new.
excited to taste this.
so
Thank you so much.
Okay, looks beautiful as always. Thank you.
enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, chef. So, excellent. Should we
Please
dig in?
help yourself. Yes.
Okay, so I imagine this isn't the first time that you've had a maple syrup creme brulee.
No, I must say Canadians like their maple syrup, so we eat a fair bit of maple syrup in different ways. You know, the most traditional is to make your pancakes and to pour maple syrup over your pancakes, but it's delicious in creme brulees or in other desserts.
Wow. Okay. Huh. I almost don't want to eat it.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy
Like
it though.
the little flag.
It'd be a shame if you didn't get a taste.
I'm just looking at it. Now I feel like I should have my phone so I take a picture and put it on my Insta story or snap it or something. You know.
Well, there's still, you see there are 2 left, so we'll take a picture afterwards.
Okay, yeah.
so
Okay,
you
that's fair. That's
there you
fair.
go.
That's fair.
Yes.
Okay.
So enjoy.
Thank you. Okay.
That nice.
And it's
crunch on the
a
top.
cold brulee. Okay. I officially like maple syrup.
Good.
Yeah,
It's a very delicate taste.
it is. Wow.
It is good. What are some popular Ghanaian desserts? I know about the fresh fruit, of course, because it's just so present. But sorry, I caught you with your mouth full.
Sorry. Okay, so we have Kati cake. It's basically peanut brittle. Yes, that's a really popular one. But you can also have a lot of our desserts as snacks. So you have something called joe or joe, depending on which part of Everland you come from. It's a mixture of roasted corn, roasted maize, and then roasted peanuts. It's blended together with some ginger, a little bit of pepper in there.
Okay.
It's the same powder for the Ghanaians who are looking at me on screen, like, what are you talking about? The same powder I use for Tom Brown. Yes, so make a nice paste and it becomes like a little snack or a dessert. But then we also have plantain desserts. Yes, there's something called ablongo.
Okay.
Yes, the Akans will call this ofam. It's essentially a plantain cake.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get the really soft plantain. I don't know if you've had kaklo yet. Not yet.
I don't know. I've had plantain, but
Okay.
just like fried plantain.
So
yes.
you know the kelewe, they usually use a very soft ripe plantain. Good. So you can use a soft ripe plantain for several things. One of them is the ablongo or the ofam. So you blend it very smoothly. Add some blended onions, some palm oil, some ginger. That's what we like our spice. Everything
Okay.
is very bougie. You know, very, very, very shiny.
Yes.
You know, you do all that and then you bake it. Add some flour as well. Bake it like it's literally a plantain cake.
Okay.
So that's also a really good dessert. And then we have something that we call now, the new kids call it mashke. I grew up knowing it as ice kenke. So it's kenke blended with milk, sugar, water. A lot of people now are doing it in a blender. I actually like the chunks in there so I can chew something.
Yes.
So, you know, lots of interesting things. And a lot of our desserts are made either from foods that you would eat as main dishes or from bits of ingredients that you use for our main dishes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. So I still have lots more to try in terms of Ghanaian food.
Yes, you do. A whole lot. There's too much to try. And of course, the fruits are always
wonderful.
A good one, an easy way to go.
Yes.
And a healthy choice as well.
Of course.
Yeah. We also have some very Yeah, you know, like how I told you about the Ghana salad that has everything in there.
Yes.
We have some fruit salads that can also be very, with bananas and you know, we have interesting things. Yes. Well, yes, we do.
I love it. We're lucky on the grounds of our residence. We have a banana tree, and we have, I think, a couple of mango trees.
Aren't you living the life?
I really enjoy it, I must say. Yes.
You are. Your Excellency, thank you so much for spending not exactly 2 weeks, but 2 weeks of screen time with me. I'm very honored. I hope that you do enjoy a stay in Ghana. I'll be visiting you from time to time.
I hope so.
And of course, you have a friend in me, friend in Citi as well. Anytime you need our support, any of the projects you're working on, please do let us know. We'll be there to support. If we have to go to the farm somewhere, we'll go with you. Likewise, if we need to cover something, you have our eyes in the camera.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you over these past 2 weeks, Apioko, and I'm looking forward to seeing the finished project of the show, but I'm also very much looking forward to working with you on other projects in the coming years.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I'm not in a hurry to get rid of you just yet. I do want to eat the rest of my dessert, but Your Excellency, we have a little surprise for you.
Oh,
yes, before we go. Okay, so where is it? Bring it. There we go. Thank you. Okay. So, Your Excellency, can I stand up? I can? Okay. Yeah, I have to ask the camera guys.
Of course.
Yes, you don't understand. I have to ask them.
Should I stand up too with you?
Oh, no, please don't. Okay. So, this is a gift. It's from a designer, Kyla Nicholas. Yes. And I'm proud to say that this designer, so the owner of the brand and lead creative for the brand, she's also our head of news at Citi TV. So this is her night job.
Wow.
Yes, and everything is handmade. So you go ahead and open it. Yes.
Well, it looks beautiful. So just from the box, so I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful something inside.
It smells good too.
Yes, it definitely smells good. Wow.
So we know you like beads.
Yes.
So there we go.
How beautiful. Yeah. That's just amazing. I'm going to move this because I don't want anything to get in the way of this.
So this particular piece is actually a collaboration she's doing with another designer. That particular designer works more with beads.
Okay.
And Kyla Nicholas, her signature is handcrafted leather. So you got the leather strip there. Yeah. Handmade.
That is so cute. I love it. It doesn't go with this outfit, but I have other outfits that it would go beautifully with. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Really, I really enjoyed working with you and spending this time together. So I look forward to another occasion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of Diplomatic License. Stay tuned, and of course, like I said, this won't be the last you'll be hearing from Her Excellency Kati Csaba, the High Commissioner of Canada to Ghana. She has a long time to be here. we have a lot to do with her. We have places to drag her to when COVID behaves itself a little bit. But until next week, my name is Apioko, your able hostess, and I will see you soon.